Confused from Minneapolis.
I don't know
We're
why.
in Minnesota.
I don't know why we get confused from Minneapolis. Minneapolis is like way
up there.
way more colder, norther, liberal, secular.
Do you fly to Chicago?
Right.
No, we drive. Like,
Well,
it's not that far.
but the interesting thing, we are pulling from Chicago. I mean, if you look at Chicago, yeah, they have a lot of atheist organizations or secular, humanist, or whatever, but they're not putting on major events.
No.
They're not doing what we're doing. So, when we do have these conferences, we are actually pulling from Chicago, which is good to see. So that's exciting for us. I say another thing that we're happy about is our international presence. We work with the Kenyan atheists, the atheists in Kenya, the only atheist group in Kenya, which is I actually traveled out there and I met with Harrison Mumia, and that's been an interesting story. The government is essentially telling them they shouldn't exist or is holding back their registration. So that's been an ongoing struggle with them. So we do work with them, support them. We work with the Greek mythicists, actually the only really other mythicist group that we know of in Greece. We'll actually be filming some of Batman and Jesus out there with Minas Papageorgiou. So we are touching internationally, which is really unique for such a small market where we're from. So that's exciting.
And so how long do you think a drive is it from downtown Chicago to where you meet?
It's only 90 minutes. It's barely.
So it's totally doable.
It's barely 90 miles.
Totally.
It's like you say, it's one urban area now.
And the nice thing is that you're going to drive right by the Mars Cheese Factory.
There you go.
You do great. Nice shout out to the Mars Cheese Castle. Yes, everybody can see it. That icon of cheese-headedness.
And is Rocky Rococo still around?
Oh yeah, you can find Rockies.
Yeah. That was always my favorite. And every once in a while, I used to work for a company that did work in this place called Green Bay and Appleton and Sheboygan and Fond du Lac. And
you have to drive by Kenosha, which is where
Kenosha.
I come from, and we have our own group, the Kenosha Racine Atheists and Free Thinkers. As long as we're touting our stuff,
and we go out to Rocky Rococo, and everyone would wear their green jerseys from the football team up there, and on special occasions like weddings, they'd wear the white jerseys, if I recall correctly.
Was that a sports reference?
Yeah, what was it? I think what do they call them? The Packers.
The Packers, yes, the old meat Packers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really honored to know that when we ran the stats for the first major Myth Information Conference, over half the attendees had driven more than 100 miles.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's great to think that people would come that far.
A lot of the bloggers are from Chicago. Besides Hemant Mehta, there's James Kirkwall and who's the other guy? I mean,
there's a lot.
The podcasters, the
cognitive dissonance
guys.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people doing it in Chicago. Not as many groups.
Yeah, I visited Cognitive Dissonance and checked out their pot den.
Den?
Pot den.
Pot den, yeah. Den of pot. They're in a building that is designed for artists and bands to practice. And so you've got this 5-story building, and every single room has artists and musicians in it. I got on the elevator, and I'm like, wow, free.
Secondhand.
Yeah, I didn't have to pay for that at all.
You were there, huh?
I was there, and I allegedly was the first person to record there, but they lost the file.
Ooh.
Oh. So
we feel lucky with where we're situated. We can be big fish in a small pond.
Now it's middle of May. Has it got above freezing yet in Wisconsin?
Yeah, it got back to freezing last night. There's a frost advisory. It got done.
Snowed up north. Yeah,
but it's been shitty. The weather's been really shitty.
You just got the hail. We got some hail. So.
I just recently spent a week in California, and every day I was there, it was warmer in Illinois than it was in California. And I come back to Illinois, and it goes to 38 degrees. I'm like, what is this all about?
That's how it goes.
It's God.
It's like going to the other side of the campfire. The smoke just changes to follow you.
Now, I assume you guys have Facebook and Twitter. How do we find you there?
We are at Mythicist MKE on Twitter. We are on Facebook, Mythicist Milwaukee. And like I say, if you go to the website, mythicistmilwaukee.com, you can find all of the pertinent links.
Yeah,
it's great
Patreon.
website.
We're on Patreon and
we're on
Pinterest,
Pinterest,
Reddit.
If you start typing in Mythicist on Google, it will suggest
and Google
Mythicist
Plus.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
We got a nice review on Google Plus from a guy who enjoys our stuff.
Yeah.
So don't forget about our buddies down at Google Plus.
Yeah, but Kristen Whitaker Hood essentially manages 15 social media outlets for us. It's
Yeah,
absolutely insane.
I do a couple, and Fritz tweets, but man, Kristen's like all over it. And
Yeah, it's fantastic.
That's what
A
I
member
need.
from Maryland.
I need some kind of publicist.
yeah, right.
Or
You got
someone-
Well, that's the cool thing about our organization. I kind of say this all the time is, when we started, it was just 2 of us 3 years ago, and then Rob came on, there's 3 of us, and then there was Brian, there's 4, and now we're up to like 16.
Yeah.
And everyone we've created the ethic of, when you come, you're going to be responsible for something, and, we treat it as a startup, and this is a startup business, and everyone has their role, and I think people appreciate that. It's not, just showing up and I hate God and that's whatever. No, it's we actually come and
we got lucky with the parts
and
too,
do
right?
stuff.
It doesn't happen everywhere where we could have been 5 accountants or 10 insurance guys, but we all have a different talent,
right.
And it happened to work out.
It's fantastic.
And Brian had a couple of nickels to rub together when he came.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, unlike the rest of us who were scraping it.
Right. It's nice to be able to, like people that you work with, and for a common goal, you can create friends. So it's a good place to join the group. And I have people now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're always looking for more people.
Yeah.
If you're in Milwaukee, we're always looking for different people to help out. And like Rob says, everyone kind of has their own skill and what they do for their occupation. That helps. Some people are just good naturally at some of the stuff, like Adam with the media and the videos. Like, he's so good at it. It was his hobby of his, and now he uses it for the group. It's awesome,
Well, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Is there anything we haven't covered yet that we want to fit in the show before we run out of time?
I don't know, Phil. I mean, that's. I mean, where do you
If you
stand on the
I was
mythicist
going to
position?
say, if you wanted to get a preview of the intellectual genius and the artistic genius
Well, thank you.
behind
Thank
Batman
you.
and Jesus, which
sorry.
will be better than Superman and or Batman and Superman, take a look at the Holy Shit series on our website at Mythicist MKE on YouTube. It's awesome. I mean, holy shit! There's 3 of them, 20 minutes apiece. You will laugh. Definitely worth checking out.
And more to come too. They're not done being produced. They're on hiatus for the Batman and Jesus
Well,
movie.
that sounds like great fun. The Batman and Jesus thing. I think that.
Yeah, and besides, I wanted to expound upon that a little bit too. Besides paralleling the evolving mythologies of Jesus and Batman, and I think Sean spoke to it well before, where Jesus was a copy of earlier biblical superheroes,
And pagan.
prehistoric pagan superheroes, and Batman was built to capitalize on the success of Superman, and since has in fact evolved into different versions of Batman, from a camp '60s series to the dark Christopher Nolan ones to any kind of different ones. And Jesus is the same way. But besides that, Batman and Jesus hopes to show how a mythology like Batman can actually become a religion. And there's some funny stuff in there about how we have a glimpse into the future, and people are actually at the church of Batman because so much time has gone by that people have forgotten that this was built as a metaphor to teach a story.
Right.
And they've lost that that special connection with the actual meaning of the myth, and come to take it as literal truth, which is exactly what we see in the bizarre modern religions and what's left, the fundamentalists that are left after the shakeout of good liberal thinkers is gone, and people have moved on to agnosticism, Unitarianism, and outright atheism. The ones who are left have cleaved to a literal version of their story, which is it makes them seem desperate and less intelligent, in fact, than the people who created the myths all those thousands of years ago.
Right. And that's what the myths do. They share the human experience, the challenges that we go through as human beings, and this goes back to the Egyptian mythology, Greek mythology, goes all the way back. It's just sharing and showcasing what it is to be human, and always trying to strive for more. And that's what the same thing with the superhero movies. I mean, they literally in the superhero movies have taken the Norse mythology and implanted it into the Avengers. I mean, there's no escaping where this stuff actually comes from. I mean, that's what our group is about, is showcasing the myth, why it was created, and why we should know, where it came from and what it's used for.
Right, and wonder whether a person from a scribe from 800 BC somewhere in Cana was look at it today and say, well, wait, we weren't supposed to take it literally.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
That's not what I was
Or
getting at.
you're
This is
missing
poetry.
all this other stuff that's supposed to be in there, right? Exactly.
Well, one of you threw out what was my position, and the cheeky answer I usually give is the odds of Jesus actually existing are about the same as Hercules.
Correct.
Sure.
Yep.
This would be like creating a search for Frost's Road Not Taken. I found it. Here it is. This is the one. No, this is not a real thing.
Right. And, lately I've been kind of delving into the Old Testament because we spend a lot of time on the New Testament and Jesus. And I've been digging into the Old Testament as far as what archaeology is saying with these stories. And where I'm at right now is Joshua supposedly had this blitzkrieg military campaign that took down 31 city-states in Canaan. And the archaeology showcases that these towns literally fell apart 1,000 years over time. It wasn't all in one shot, like the Bible will tell you. The narrative says he's going in, destroying 31 towns, with in a couple years. This is 1,000 years it takes, and there's no evidence of warfare. It's all internal. It's just Canaan falling apart from infighting.
And very braggy, right?
Yeah.
He displays as the kings and victims, hangs them from trees.
And you see how the Israelites are truly just Canaanites, and they're not their own people. And, the whole narrative of the Old Testament is just BS. How can we state that the New Testament's any different if it's supposed to be, fulfilling the prophecies of the Old Testament? I mean, it's just all myth. It's mythology.
No disagreement here. So thank you, all three of you, for coming on the show. And, of course, everyone should listen to Mythicist Milwaukee podcast. Go check out your page. And, of course, today with me once again is Sean, Brian, and Rob. I greatly appreciate your efforts. And, gosh, I hope I can get up there for one of the presentations or the debates you guys do.
Well, that'd be awesome. And we'd love to have you on a remote debate or a remote presentation if you're interested.
Sign me up. If there's an excuse for me to talk, I'm there.
That's fantastic. I will be in touch.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
We'll see you in June, right?
Yep.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You're listening to The Phil Ferguson Show on Secular Media Network.
Well, folks, it's that time in the show where we get to wrap things up. I did have a couple of people ask me about playing songs at the end of the show. Well, I like it, and I had fun finding songs, but YouTube apparently doesn't like it. The show is also shared on YouTube and broken up into 10-minute segments. I got flagged a couple of times for using other people's work, which is what I was doing. And YouTube is very sensitive to that, and probably rightfully so. So for a while, at least, I will be going back to our regular closing music and not using other people's work. Maybe I can figure out how one gets licensed to do that. If you have any genius ideas, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just stick to what is the tried and true method. I will be at the American Humanist Association just a few days after this episode comes out. And then, of course, the week after that is the Reason Rally. There is a very good possibility that I will skip a week again. And it was funny, when I went to California for a week, I did skip a week from the show, and I actually got emails from people that said, "Where's the show?" So again, my apologies for that. That will happen from time to time, and I am just honored beyond words, I guess, that you are looking forward to the show, and that if I miss a week, that it bothers you. I'm sorry that it bothers you, but I'm honored that you like this show. It's one of those things that I'm actually sometimes having a difficulty comprehending, I guess, that people like the show. So thank you very much if you like the show. I appreciate it greatly. I've had people call me that their friends have told them about the show and shared the show with them. People keep putting comments on iTunes and give me 5-star ratings. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if you like the show, feel free to do that. You can send me a note. You can share the show. Hopefully it helps somebody out either with their finances or maybe, just maybe, helps them out of religion, because that's a very important goal for me as well. Once again, thanks for listening to the Phil Ferguson Show. I hope to see you soon at a conference. Until then, ciao.